Not every area of the castle is a fairy tale. Truth is, the king has to do a lot of ugly stuff to keep the realm alive. Look at war. People see it as a great, heroic battle, but in actual fact, it is messy. I help the king do the dirty work to gain results. They call me Knife. I am the king's torturer. I spend my days and nights down in the black dungeons of the king's stronghold. Peasants grow up wanting power, gold. Not me. I'm smart. I wanted people to fear me. People never mess with someone they fear. That person can get away with anything, providing they're feared enough. I have a suspicion that the king himself fears me. I started practicing my torturing when I was a young lass. I was always being picked on. Being called names turned into a joke. It made me... I tortured a few of them, and before I knew it, I was no longer being picked on. I remembered the peasants who did it, though. Any time I needed a volunteer, I would go and kidnap them and take them to an abandoned house in the woods. After a few peasants started to disappear, I knew it would not be long before I was a suspect. So, I moved on. In the abandoned house, when I was taking the lives of the peasants, I finally realized what life was about. Nothing. Our lives do not matter. Our death matters. If you have the correct death, you can live on. Death can give your life meaning. From that point on, I decided I wanted to give peasants' lives a meaning. Back when the king was a prince and his bride-to-be was being kidnapped. As the kidnappers were escaping with the bride, one of them fell off his horse. I came to the prince, informing him of my methods and how I can locate his bride. The peasant who fell off was named Hetholt. His name was the first piece of information I pulled out of him. Before you knew it, I had his weeping, crying for his mama, apologizing for all the evil deeds he had committed. Even a few things I convinced him he did. I showed the prince what he was confessing to, and Hetholt was executed. He did not die with dignity. He kept on screaming to the crowd how this was not the plan. He was promised an escape. The king's guard traveled to the location and returned with the bride and the other kidnapper known as Tinson. The prince said I could name my reward. I asked to be the king's torturer, and for Tinson, so I can try out some of my new methods. Truth is, Hetholt and Tinson were working for me the whole time. We planned it so I could have smuggled them out of the castle. The only problem was, I could not have them informing anyone of the arrangement, or I could lose my new job. I made sure Tinson lost his tongue first. I kept doing my job for many years, punishing criminals or trying to get information for the king. Eventually I got an offer which I could not believe. I will always remember the day they dragged a shadow warrior into my dungeon. The king came to me personally. He usually sends for one of the king's guards, so I knew it must have been important. The shadow warrior apparently was on a quest infiltrating the ogre land. He captured an ogre with important information but let him go. The king needed to find that ogre. I walked towards him, chained to the wall, and whispered in his ear, "You're so fucked." I was always curious on what his actual name was. I never asked, though. That was the only information I never got. He was able to resist for a while, but I took his sanity. I informed the king that the ogre was last seen heading to the Frost Point. The king gathered a small army and journeyed south into the Frost Point. leaving me all alone to continue playing with the Shadow Warrior. I already had him completely insane, begging me to be some girl called Zendra. The king informed me he was now branded as a traitor. The king did not want to do a big public execution, as peasants would think he was innocent and cause a riot. Instead, I was allowed to kill him. Probably the greatest man who ever lived, and I'm the one who gets to give his life meaning.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and click that subscribe button for new content. This is performed by me, Ice Angel TV. My link is in the description below. Have an awesome day. Bye!